Today we're getting ready to read Junie B. Jones's Turkeys We Have Loved and Eaten and Other Thankful Stuff. Diving is chapter 4. Mr. Scary stared at Roger a real long time. He said they would talk about this later. Talk about this later is a school word for getting yelled at when there's more time. Roger slumped lay down in his seat. After that, Mr. Scary looked back at the class. Okay, everyone, we're going to continue now, he said. But this time, please raise your hand if you actually brought something to show. Lucille sprang out of her chair. I did, she hollered. I brought the best thing you ever saw. Then she reached down and she pulled a big, giant purse out of her thankful bag. Wait till you see this, children, she said. I brought something that everyone in the whole world is thankful for, and I have lots and lots of it. After that, she turned the big, giant purse upside down, and wowee, wow, wow. Out came money, shouted Lucille. Money, money, money. I am thankful for money. Room 1 did a gasp at that sight. Then all her mouths fell open at once, and her eyes got bigger and bigger, and then, bam! We dived for it. Money, we hollered. Money, money, money. I started to grab, and it's the paper gun, I yelled. Lucille laughed real happy. Then she turned her thankful bag inside out, and more money fell out on top of us. Whee! Woohoo! Yippee! We hollered. Mr. Scary was hollering too, I think. But it is hard to hear your teacher when you are money diving. Finally, he raised his voice to a louder level. It was the level that means business. Go back to your seats, he hollered. Now. Everyone stopped grabbing, and they hurried back to their seats, speedy fast. Except for not actually me. Instead, I kept sitting on the floor because I had a teensy problem. Mr. Scary glared his eyes at me. Junie B. Jones, did you hear me? I said go back to your seat. I nodded real nervous. Yes, I said, I only have a teensy problem. I pointed at his shoe. You're actually standing on a fiver? And so if you could just lift up this one shoe right here, I can get my money and be on my way. I tapped on the foot he should lift. Then I waited and waited for it to move, but it did not actually budge. Instead, yikes, I felt myself getting lifted off the floor, and I got carried back to my seat. Mr. Scary sat me in my chair. I smiled real twitchy, and I smoothed my skirt. Okie dokie, I said. I believe I will just sit here now and behave myself. Mr. Scary kept on standing there. I waved my fingers at him. Alrighty then, have a good day, I said. He took some deep breaths. Deep breaths are what teachers do to keep from screaming. Room 1 stayed quiet as a mouse. I could hear Mr. Scary's nose whistle. But now was not the time to tell him he needed a tissue probably. Finally, he finished breathing. Then he picked up Lucille's big, giant purse, and he went around the circle, and he made us put all the money back. Sheldon hung his head. I'm sorry, he said. Free money makes me cuckoo. Herb nodded. Me too, he said, especially the paper kind. At my house, I don't even get an allowance. Me neither, said Roger. My parents expect me to live at home for free. Lenny rolled his eyes. Oh, well, I get a whopping quarter for taking out the trash. Seriously, that's it, 1 quarter. He threw his hands in the air. I mean, why even bother? Mr. Scary snapped his fingers. That means knock it off. After that, we all stayed quiet while Mr. Scary went to the board. He stood there very thinking. Then he finally picked up the chalk and he added money to our thankful list. After he finished, he took Lucille by the hand and he walked her to the door. Boys and girls, Lucille and I are going to take her money to the office for safekeeping, he said. But while we are gone, I want you all to stay in your seats, and I want you to think very, very hard about what just happened here. He narrowed his eyes at us. I think we all know that Lucille's family is wealthy, and we are all very happy for her. But there are lots of other things to be thankful for besides money, right, Lucille? Right, she said back. She shook her head around in the air. I am also thankful for my shiny, gleaming hair. Then she kept on shaking it until Mr. Scary said, please stop. He looked at her. Believe it or not, Lucille, there are plenty of people who don't have money or shiny hair, but they are still very happy. Lucille fluffed herself. That's just nuts, she said. Mr. Scary pulled her out of the door.